Hello, welcome to Airing Out. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jonas.
And this is Jerry. And Jerry's dressed up today because today we're talking about Tarantino.
Hey, he's got it all. He's got the
sword. He's got the cowboy hat. Ooh. Oh no, got a Black Hawk Down.
He's drunk.
Okay.
He's drunk.
He's got the hat for Django. I've got the shoes from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Stop it, Jerry.
Jerry's messing up.
Oh my god, he's such an attention.
He doesn't get a chat segment for 2 episodes and he's all over the place.
My god.
Ridiculous.
Anyways.
But no, we are talking about Tarantino today.
All of it.
All 9 films.
All of them.
Yes. Have you seen all 9 films?
No.
Neither.
Sadly.
I've only not seen one. What about you?
More than that. I think I've seen 2 of them.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go through each one. They're gonna talk through them in chronological order,
and
then also talk a little bit at the end about how we go about writing a script.
Exactly, because that's one of his huge qualities, obviously, writing and directing.
Yes, definitely. As always, if you want to jump to the film to talk about, well, it's all gonna be in the timestamps below.
Yeah.
And if you just want to hear us talk about our films, then you can skip all the way to the end. But it is awesome if you listen to the whole thing. It's also awesome if you like, share,
comment,
subscribe,
and click the bell icon.
And it's easy.
Wow. As if we rehearsed that.
God.
We didn't.
We do it 5 times before we start the video.
We do, yeah. Man.
We actually run every video 5 times, so that's why it's so slick. It takes us,
imagine,
6 hours a day?
Yeah.
Horrible. Right.
Jumping in.
Let's get into it. So,
very first film is
Reservoir Dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, you'd only seen this the first time recently.
Quite recently, yeah.
Yeah.
It was this year. Yeah, I've only seen it
a month ago.
About time flies, so it's hard to say, but probably about a month ago.
About a month. Cool.
Yeah, interesting.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it was very interesting to have so little story going on. Yeah. And still it still being so entertaining. Because,
especially that opening scene stands alone by itself. And I think so many of his films do, but to have that in your first feature films, he did do a short film before that we're ignoring. But to have an opening scene that you could just cut 10 minutes in and be like, okay, that's you could pitch that and be like, this is my short. Exactly. And it'd be fine. And the film doesn't really get more plot than that as it goes, and yet still the dialogue holds up the whole way, and invest in the characters.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt so extremely contained because there's so much stuff that they hint at, the robbery. They never show it.
You don't see it at all. Yeah.
But it's you know all the things that you need to know for the film, and I think that's brilliant to have, all of that information there, but not in a bad way. So I'm sure we're gonna get to talk about that in terms of exposition. So when a character is literally telling you, the viewer, something that you need to know, as in we couldn't meet up because she was going to the shops, cut to her going to the shops, and it's yes, okay, you didn't actually have to tell us that then.
Yeah. I think the best thing about Reservoir Dogs is you see, obviously, there's not a lot in the film that was particularly expensive to film.
No. Lots of fake blood.
Lots of fake blood, yeah.
As per usual.
But given that, though, all of the techniques that would go on to become, kind of ubiquitous with his style are still there. So it's still got the amazing music track, it's still got the dialogue, there's still bursts of extreme violence, but not, the film's not that violent. In terms of, there are bits, there's definitely sections you could take out, and if you saw just the cop getting tortured, you'd be like, oh, this film's not for me. But the film taken as a whole, it definitely doesn't go into torture porn territory.
No, not at all.
I
think if you actually take that out, the only violence is people getting shot, and then I guess comparing it to other films, they do actually bleed a lot.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, when people get shot, they get shot.
Yeah.
But I think if you've been following on all of our podcasts, you'll know me especially. I like to talk about action in movies. And I don't think, with the exception of a couple of his films, action isn't what he... you wouldn't go to his films to watch action, but it's done so well because it's realistic.
Yeah.
If the guy's getting his ear cut off, he's getting his ear cut off.
Yeah.
And you feel that, whereas a lot of films kind of shy away from that a little bit.
A little bit of CG blood that vanishes in thin air.
It's such a pet peeve, right? So if you're a CG artist out there, why does blood disappear in midair? It's in, like, see, even, like, 300, which kind of did that whole super slow motion thing, was, like, the first film to really do that.
Yeah.
And even that, and it's like, you're watching this guy fly, and then the blood just slowly disappears. I'm like, I don't know if anyone's ever had a bad injury, but blood doesn't disappear.
I don't think it's the CG artist's fault, though, because they know what they're... Yeah, it's like, you have to paint in every single frame.
Yeah.
So at some point you're like, okay, I'm like 1,000 frames in, having done 100 blood like droplets. So at some point you're just like, okay, let's just let them go away.
I'm surprised there's not an AI program to do that now, though.
Yeah.
Like if you build a 3D space, especially in films where it is just CG stuff that it's going on, then it's definitely the one thing. I've got nothing against CG blood at all, as long as it like sticks to the surfaces around it. Whereas that's one thing with like, so Tarantino with his practical blood effects. Yeah. You know, someone gets shot and that's against the wall and it's there. Like that's what happens when you put a squib on someone. But yeah, the CG when it just disappears in midair, and like John Wick kind of gets away with it because it's so fast. But if you're gonna have any kind of slow motion whatsoever or not speed it up or flick away after, I think it just becomes so obvious, and you're like,
yeah, especially in slow motion.
Yeah. But, yeah. I think, though, it's amazing he's got all the Tarantino-isms. The messed up timeline.
Yeah.
That he does and sticks to and kind of perfects in.
And also...
No, I was just saying he perfects what he did.
Yeah, later on. No, and also, like, the way he introduces characters. You know, it's like, oh, we have... this character, we follow him, he gets like his proper time, and then we have another character, Mr. Brown, Mr. Orange, Mr. Blue.
And I do like how he, like, we don't need to know the names of all, like if Mr. Brown gets shot in the face during the heist, we see him briefly in the meeting, he doesn't really say anything, he doesn't chat a lot in the start, he's not really a part of the film, it's just fleshing out the crew. So it's just like, it doesn't matter, and he's kind of aware of that, and it's like, you don't need to know. Whereas some films would be like, oh, we've got this crew of, like, I mean, if you look at, Ocean's 11 does it well, but 11 characters is a lot. I think a lot of films buckle under that, where they have, like, a big ensemble, and it's like, oh, everyone needs their time, and it's like, no, not everyone does, especially if you're going to wipe 2 of them off pretty quickly. You know, and it's just like, okay, let's just cut them, and you're fine.
Or there's, like, he what he does really well is characterize them so quickly that, like... you don't need them to be on for long, like to have a lot of screen time in order for the audience to know who they are, like at least the essence, you know, so you don't have to like go and flesh out everything from backstory and whatever. You just need to know this one detail about them, that's why they're important to the film, and then they can die.
Essentially. I do think so kind of Hateful Eight, going to the end of his filmography quickly, was kind of said to be pretty much a retelling of Reservoir Dogs. It's very similar, but obviously with the production budget that he can demand now. But I think that goes even further in that every single character in that is so unique that within 2 or 3 lines you're kind of like, okay, I know everything I need to know about this character, and I don't need to, like, I know that's a long film anyway, but imagine if every character had their little monologue explaining their backstory. It'd be mad. Whereas Reservoir Dogs doesn't take the time to do that. It's much shorter. I think it's his shortest film, 1.5 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't get...
It doesn't, but it doesn't need to. It's like, you know the situation, you know what's happening, you know the characters you need to know, and I think a lot of people are still surprised by the ending. It's not the easiest to predict. I mean, once you know, you know. But, we won't ruin it now, though, because a lot of people I know haven't seen Reservoir Dogs.
That's true. It's definitely...
and it holds up, I'd say, pretty well.
Yeah.
Not perfectly, but, I mean, it's definitely cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
But I think...
it's a good one.
It allowed him to make Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Which, presumably everyone's seen. It's incredible.
I think Pulp Fiction is definitely one of his most known films.
Fill them out. But I mean, it's from the start, so it's just, I mean, it starts in the same way, with a conversation, with 0 context, and then you fleshed out, you got these characters, they're chatting away.
About nothing. I think that's what's so brilliant. It seems like they're talking about nothing. and you have no clue why you're following this conversation. But it's, I don't know, it's only after the fact or like at the end of the film that you're like, okay, it had its reasons, like it was character building or...
Yeah, and it does lend itself to a second viewing as well, of course.
It's
many
smart.
more.
Very smart.
But it's good, because a lot of films are kind of, especially these days, you watch them and you go, that was fun. Never see it again.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's a good film, like, if the plot is so easily laid out for you and the dialogue's so expositional, like we're talking, then it's there's nothing truly savor in the film. Whereas to make a film like, I mean, Pulp Fiction is so quotable. Yeah. And, like, it just goes on, and it's... Yeah, but I think it's impressive because it is fairly actionless in the whole film. There's only really when they get kidnapped. Which to call that action. And a couple people get shot, but briefly. You know, it's literally... There's no shootouts or anything like that.
I think because you might return to some of the shootouts, like the first one.
There's no... Well, especially no one fires a gun in that.
Huh.
It's just someone waving a gun around.
Huh.
Yeah.
Not the first time. Yeah, the first time no one gets shot.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like it's again the thing. Maybe not a lot throughout the film, but since it is so impactful, you still think like it is saturated in that sense. Like
yes,
it doesn't have to be everywhere.
I don't think he had the reputation at this point of being like, oh, his films are so violent. But
that's surely because of Kill Bill.
Presumably, we'll get there.
Yeah. We'll get there.
But it is amazing that he has such a reputation, and you watch it, and it's actually, I mean, apart from him putting himself in the film to say the N-word 100 times, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's not much in the film that actually bumps the rating up to what it is.
I guess having a GIMP and that kind of like the whole dungeon thing.
Be legal at 16.
Yeah.
Technically.
I have to say that's also maybe an American audience kind of issue. Like that would definitely spike, get someone's attention.
Yeah. Here in Europe, we're much more relaxed.
I don't know. It's at least like the rating system I know, at least in Germany, is very different. Like in terms of violence versus sex, like what bumps up the PG first is quite the opposite. Like sex won't. Whereas
I remember the first time I ever saw Terminator. The bit that was like, oh, watch out, was the sex scene in it.
Really?
Which I thought was amazing. Well, not the sex, but like it's hilarious because that film is it was amazing.
Yeah.
No, but that film is so. I mean, it's basically a horror film essentially.
Yeah.
And to be like, oh no, this is the bit you've got to watch for after watching these people get like ripped
That's
in
gonna
half.
be a jump scare. It's like,
it's
like, someone's naked.
Trust me, 10-year-old me was petrified.
Yeah.
I don't know how old I was, but yikes.
No, but I think that's also like he's definitely good at making something iconic. Like going from Reservoir Dogs to Pulp Fiction, not a single character I would say is the same.
No.
Like they might have a similar function or like some personalities being the same. Like you have someone who's trigger happy or whatever, but like they're still absolutely iconic.
Yeah.
And in the way
even then he was building up his cinematic universe as well, where Vincent Vega and Nick Vega in Reservoir Dogs are brothers canonically, so within his universe. But that's just amazing because that's
crazy.
I mean, they came out years apart, and to be like, yeah, I'll write this character in, let's relate him to someone in the other film. They're set within the same universe. Why not?
Why not?
You know, and stuff like that is just amazing kind of planning, and just to be able to do that and while having unique characters and stuff, I think is incredible.
That's cool.
And contrary to Reservoir Dogs, which definitely you have to watch with the guise of like, okay, this was someone's first ever feature film.
That's true, yeah.
Pulp Fiction holds up perfectly.
In any, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great film to watch with mates, with a drink. It's a great film to watch on your own and critique as a film student.
Yeah.
Perfect movie.
Absolutely.
Let's say. His next film, however, was not.
This is one of them.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen this one.
Okay, so it's Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
I think it's too similar. So
I haven't even heard much about this.
So the last two films of Tarantino that the two that I hadn't seen was Jackie Brown and Death Proof.
Mm.
And everyone said they're okay. Death Proof is definitely his worst one, though.
Okay.
And he's my favorite director.
Mm-hmm.
And I was nervous, but I thought, you know what? Okay, fine. I will watch Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
And if it's actually fine and everyone's just making a hoolie, I'll watch Death Proof as well. And I watched Jackie Brown, and I was kind of like, I'm glad I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to see it again.
Okay.
Yeah, I would never. The rest of his films is always like a mood I'm in for. Whatever it may be to watch one of them. I'm never in the mood to be like, oh, let's watch Jackie Brown. Pulp Fiction, but slightly less engaging.
Okay.
The plot's a bit more linear. It's about drugs instead of a boxing fight, I think. I mean, the characters are a little bit less iconic.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue's not quite as catchy. It's still in the modern day. It's following a character who's...
Okay.
She's plenty compelling. I think if anyone else made that movie... Like, if they came out in the other way round, I think it'd be better. But because it's like, you come off the high of Pulp Fiction, and you watch Jackie Brown, you're kind of like, okay.
Oh, that must be really annoying, though, to be like, just because one of my films... Or, like, the film right before was of a certain standard, and this one isn't quite as good.
Yeah.
Even though it may still be good.
Yeah. And especially because it doesn't have that much violence. I don't think it has any.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the super sweary dialogue either, really.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like a toned down...
Oh.
When you've only got the chat...
Yeah.
And someone going about their day, I think... I mean, it needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't quite have it. I don't think the characters are as compelling.
Hmm.
But not many people have seen it, so it's okay. It doesn't taint his record too much.
That's fair. I don't think that's... It would be hard for him to, like, lose all his credibility.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Brilliant
director. You may be thinking it's just because these two straight white men don't like a female lead character.
Ah.
But this is not the case, because his next
we
film...
being the straight white men.
We are the straight white men that don't like Jackie Brown, because it's basically Pulp Fiction with a female lead.
Ah, see,
You didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
You just saw the poster and went, not from me.
I did not. Don't know anything about Jackie Brown, so...
Okay, well, it's the title. Titular character. But that is not the case, because Kill Bill is one of my favourite Tarantino films. And that...
Yeah, both of them is one of your... Or do you have a favourite?
Well...
So,
Kill Bill is split into two. They came out a year after each other. They were filmed in one go, though.
Mm.
And as far as Tarantino himself ranks them, he says they're one film.
Yes.
So I do tend to think of them as one film as well. However, they're so tonally different that I do think it was a good thing that the studio... Because it was the studio stepped in and went, no, we wanted to split it. For monetary reasons. Because also a 4.5-hour movie doesn't tend to do well at the box office.
Doesn't, no.
Especially if that kind of caliber, like it's not a Lord of the Rings epic saga.
No, yeah. Or at least they weren't. It wasn't a thing back then that people would watch movies for that long.
With a 15-minute interval to get more popcorn. But I do think splitting them is actually the better call.
Yeah.
They work better as two separates, like watching one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday. I think back to back is a little jarring how much slower part 2 is. Because I think part 1 has some of the most awesome action ever.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that Crazy 88 fight, which is right after the Gogo Yubari fight, which is right before the fight with Oren Ishii, is just this block of like, you want to see some samurai action?
If you haven't seen them, you will be completely confused now.
Yes.
But, like, it's a lot of fighting.
Please watch it. If you're an action fan, you'll love part 1, and then if you're more of like Tarantino's dialogue kind of fan, I think part 2 is exceptional as well.
I mean, it's just one big revenge plot of her.
But it's compelling.
Yeah.
It does it well. I think there was that risk, because obviously she gets comatose and has to come out of her coma. And there was that risk of spending a lot of time just getting back on her feet and training. But instead, in Volume 2, they have the training in the past, so the timelines switch again. But because you didn't get that in Volume 1, that's okay. Whereas if you had her getting back on her feet and Volume 2, whereas instead she gets in her car and goes and kills someone, which is the opening scene. So the timeline doesn't, like, the timeline wouldn't make for that compelling a story.
Yeah.
If it was chronological, it would be so slow. But because they've switched it, or he switched it, it actually works as a plot that's compelling and fun and paced well, which is something he's really, really good at.
I think he, like to start with a scene that is just like it grips you right away, and it doesn't have to be like action like in Kill Bill. It can just be a conversation like in Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, but just something that hooks you right away, sucks you into the film, and then it's okay to have like that, and then maybe something a bit slower, like she's in the hospital and she's sitting in the car for 5 minutes trying to wiggle her big toe. You know, that kind of stuff is. But
that comes as a break rather than the
which
start.
is still like tense, you know.
Yeah.
So like
in
even the break
kind of
is tense, which is very cool. But I don't know. I just love the kind of storytelling. So he divides it into chapters, and the films are also called Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Parts,
so it is very like storytelling.
Although
that's amazing.
In saying that, that's a pet peeve of mine. Is her kill list that kind of catalogs as the film goes. Is run in 2 different pen colors.
Oh.
Half of it's red, and then sometimes on screen it's black. It just flip-flops, and it's really annoying that no one spotted that. So now whenever you watch it, you go, oh, she's written her second kill list.
Yeah.
With the same names.
Edited. She's like, do I want to change? No.
Like, I made a typo. But the music's incredible as well. I listen to the soundtrack quite a lot. It's very upbeat and just kind of gets you pumped. But I think my favourite bit isn't the fight.
Isn't the fight?
No, it's the backstory for Oren Ishii, which goes into like anime.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it's beautifully animated. They go into this whole backstory. It's like a cartoon section.
Yeah.
It's to like explain
Japanese.
Like a Japanese
gang.
cartoon style. Oh yeah, she goes into the Yakuza.
Yeah.
And it's really well done. It tells her backstory, makes her a little bit more sympathetic of a villain, which is cool.
That's true. Yeah.
And also, it's gorgeous. Like it's really well animated and is a nice break and kind of change of flavor. And it did remind me, because I know we talked about a couple of days ago Harry Potter. Something that we didn't mention was there's the Deathly Hallows backstory.
Yeah, in the first
Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Yeah.
In the 7th movie.
Yeah.
But I think that's my favourite bit in any Harry Potter film. Just because it's a nice change of pace, it's got the narration, it's gorgeously animated.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think if you're going to have to tell a lot of exposition, it's a really nice way of doing it. Because like in Reservoir Dogs, when they do Mr. Orange's backstory, well, as he's like telling the story and you see all that, I think that's fine for one character. But as soon as you have to do multiple, like we're already seeing the backstory of all these different of the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad. But you're already seeing the backstory for that, so to have a really unique way to make one of them stand out, compared to Venetia Green is the character she kills at the very start. In the kitchen, but she doesn't have a lot of backstory. You don't need it.
No, you don't.
But you're building up to this massive fight, which is 3 fights in a row. It's like let's.
Yeah. No, I do have to say, like, I mean, in Kill Bill, he does use different techniques. So there are these flashbacks, which I also love, like the black and white flashbacks to her wedding where everything goes wrong, and like her
That's
just
one way to say it.
Everything
went wrong.
Just like also like her, I guess, relationship to Bill. I think it's very cool because the black and white also switches the tone and it feels way more like a Western then.
Yes.
But also to have like the animation really also somehow captures, well, not somehow, but it really captures also the anime and the tie to like Japanese filmmaking that is all over.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, is a giant homage. In saying that, what is your opinion on the fights cutting to black and white? Because that's done. There's an original color version. The Japanese release of the film is the whole fight's in color. But there is when over the limit of blood allowed to be shown on screen for the BBFI, the film rating people.
Interesting.
In the Western world. So literally there's too much blood on screen. You can't show that much red. So you cut it to black and white. And knew that you would have to do it. So there's a good cut for it and a good cut back. But I prefer the original, like the color. I think
one.
it's artsy in the film and it's very well done, but it is ever so slightly longer. It stays creative, so it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice that it's just uncensored. It's just like, this is what you want to see.
Fair, yeah.
Here it is.
I don't really remember. Like, I wouldn't have. Like, I couldn't say right now because I haven't seen both of that.
Yeah.
Recently.
Have you never seen the color version?
I don't know if I have. But, like, to be honest, I don't mind because I think the way they did it in the end was also very very conscious, you know?
Yes.
So it's not like a weird, why is this happening?
Yeah, it's not a random cut. There is the lights. Yeah. The lights? And the blink. This is the blink. Blink at the start, lights get back on. Yeah. So I think the fact he knew he'd had to do it definitely helped.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is interesting to have to make decisions like that as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing that artistic style.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is fair. But yeah, his next film, I don't think either of us have seen.
No, I definitely haven't.
It's Death Proof.
So apparently this is his worst film.
Everyone says, oh, it's good, but it's his worst film.
It's good, but it's his worst. Oh, that must suck.
And as...
if you're like, oh yeah, this is a pretty good film, but everyone hates it.
Yeah.
Because
it's alright. It's just not as good as any of his others.
That's a shame.
And you're like, it's not a great sell. I don't know. If any of you guys disagree, let us know if it's worth watching. I've not seen it. He's my favourite director, and I don't want to have that ruined. I know it's kind of a weird logic,
bad. It
but
must be really bad for that to happen.
Apparently, in terms of how Kill Bill is a homage to samurai films and how Django is a homage to westerns, it's meant to be like a homage to like grindhouse cinema, like super cheap movies.
Okay.
And because of that, it's a little bit.
Okay.
I've seen Dusk Till Dawn, which he's in, he acts in, and like that came out along with so From Dusk Till Dawn and Death Proof were like a double feature in cinemas.
Okay.
I thought From Dusk Till Dawn was fine. Most people say it's the better of the two though, again, which is like, oh, that was okay.
Okay, yeah, fair. It does show though, I mean, also in terms of like what he's trying to pay homage to. This is all like, this goes into some like knowledge of Tarantino working in like a DVD shop or whatever.
Yeah,
so like he has
every film that's ever been made.
I think it really shows that he has huge like he has knowledge of so many films and therefore can pay tribute to them or like pick and choose, like I want to have this element in there but make it my own, but just in the way that I throw things together and combine them. And
which is an interesting thing, because I know a lot of people that say, oh, I'd like, why watch Kill Bill if you can watch kung fu films that are actually from the country that they're paying homage to, or why would you watch Reservoir Dogs even going all the way back when you could watch an actual heist movie?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's interesting where it's like, but even so say you took Django, that's paying homage to like Magnificent Seven, which is paying homage to or straight ripping off Seven Samurai. Everything's connected to something else, and I think he does it in the best way, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna take a lot of references, put his own spin on them, which he definitely has a spin with his incredible dialogue, music, the shots he uses, his weird foot fetish, but like he makes it his own rather than just making a movie that's completely the same as something you've seen before, but newer.
No, there's definitely something to be said about his films being so recognizable, and so the fact that you can tell that it's his film kind of already means that he's, whatever he has taken, he has still made it his own, which is, I mean, props to him.
Big props.
For that. No, because also like in terms of like when we start talking about our own scripts and whatever, it is, I don't know, it is basically impossible to be actually original in like what you're trying to like the stories you're trying to tell. So it is often in how you tell them.
Definitely.
Is how you
and all his characters
creative.
When they talk sound like people. That's how people talk.
Oh yeah, dialogue is one of the hardest things to write.
Yeah. But it is incredible. But I think, speaking of dialogue,
Mm.
his best dialogue, I think,
Well,
definitely the best individual scenes where you can pick dialogue out of
Yeah.
is Inglourious Basterds, which is his next movie.
I think to go from apparently his worst
Worst.
film to Inglourious Basterds is
Incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I love that film.
There's a good, I'd say like 3, 4, 5 scenes
Uh-huh.
that I definitely watch fairly regularly and
Mm.
just in isolation. I mean, it's a long film. I'm a big fan of watching scenes on their own.
Yeah, if they're good. I
but,
think that's
like-
also like a staple. If one scene
Yeah.
is so good, then he's done everything right. Because a scene in and of itself should still have an arc, like a
Oh, yeah,
plot
yeah,
mountain,
definitely.
whatever. Like a film should have overall. So that kind of means that every scene is moving the story forward, is interesting, is compelling.
Yeah.
And has all this tension, and yeah, so
I mean, that film is tense. There is so many amazing scenes of
Yeah.
tension. It's just incredible.
also again, like, so many characters that he manages to actually, like, they actually have character, and
Yeah.
we are invested in them, and I think that's also quite amazing to have, like, the ability to, I don't know, to manage that. Just have some.
And I think one
main
thing a lot of people
characters.
don't notice is like the timeline in that isn't straight either.
No.
Because there's little things. So when Shoshana is eating lunch or dessert, I guess, with Strudel, yes, with Hans Landa.
Hans Landa, yeah.
The Nazi or SS captain
Mm.
that takes her there is the same one in the pub or the bar, if you're American,
Oh.
that identifies Michael
Right.
Fassbender's character. It's the same guy. But little things like that are just it shows how contained the films actually are.
Mm.
They could have just had any extra do that.
Mm.
But instead they're like, no, let's have this
That makes
character
sense, yeah.
here. And it does make you feel, so you see him, and even if you don't make the connection straight away, you know he's threatening because you've seen him
Oh, yeah.
before, and obviously the uniform helps. Very well dressed.
Does
Hugo
help.
Boss. Mm.
Mm.
But-
I think it's also cool, like, to have that film be shot in all the actual languages. So they're speaking
Yes.
Italian, they're speaking French, they're speaking German, English, obviously. But like for them to always speak the right language
Mm.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
it
it's
all makes sense.
Christoph Waltz doesn't speak Italian as well, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
So there's that bit where he shows off that he can speak Italian, and that's it, and it's done perfectly. But it's great knowing that he just learned this spiel
Yeah.
to chuck out, and you're like, cool.
Okay.
But I think actually between us, I can get by in Italian and French. You obviously can speak German.
Yeah.
So we could turn the subtitles off, we'd be fine.
No, but they are part of the film.
Yeah, that's actually, if anyone needs to do subtitles, they're yellow for a reason, because yellow is the least likely colour to contrast, if anything. It's
Oh.
black or white, otherwise you might have to like change the colour grade of certain
Ooh.
things. So yellow is your best colour if you're going to put
Subtitles in.
Subtitles
if you
in
have to
film.
put subtitles in.
Yeah.
Hey.
Pros tip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's fine. It's a really ugly colour though. Like the shade that it has to be isn't particularly aesthetic.
That's true. But it makes
Um,
sense. I think it's the same shade as, like, I think it first comes in when he's at the farm.
Yeah.
And speaking French. It's like the same shade as his pipe.
Oh, yeah, it would be his
Yeah.
ginormous pipe.
Yeah. So like also that makes sense, you know.
I do think it's funny. So, Donny Donovitz.
Uh-huh. The
The
bear
name
Jew.
is escaping me, which is really annoying. But so he's the actor.
The actor,
It's the
yeah.
same guy that directed Hostel
Oh, yeah.
and a bunch of other kind of torture porn films.
Mhm.
And he directed the movie within the movie, so the German film
Oh.
Nation's Pride.
Yeah.
So he directed that, and it does come across like that because it's just like, we want to see someone kill hundreds of people and enjoy it. Like, oh, we'll get the guy from Hostel,
Yeah.
which is like, I mean, it's a great movie, but it's not classy.
No.
So it is cool, like, he's in it, and they definitely have, like, a rapport, and to have that kind of trust with other filmmakers.
Yeah.
Because I do think, because of Tarantino's very obvious style, it's nice that the film within the film isn't done by him.
Yeah.
Because I think you'd know. Like, it definitely feels different.
That is cool. I didn't know that was, like, actually done by someone else.
Yeah.
That would give up his reins in that sense.
Yeah, but I mean, also having the trust to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But it also is nice for someone with such a distinctive style, because I'm sure if Tarantino had his way, the guy on the bell tower would take his shoes off and be like, "Oh, here's my feet for a second."
No, you have like favorite shots, favorite angles that you use, and to change that up a little bit is definitely cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I have read an interesting piece that talks about how that's trying to poke fun at Tarantino's own viewers, because it's just the Nation's Pride film is super violent, and all the Nazis are loving it when it's shown, and that's him like reflecting on his audience that are loving the violence. I'm kind of like, I don't think.
Everyone who enjoys Tarantino films are Nazis.
Yeah, I think it's just people looking into it too much. I hope.
I don't think that would be a smart thing for him to be doing. Like, and
seeing his interviews, he's never criticized his audience. He always criticizes people that don't understand it and keep trying to question his violence in movies.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Again, though, Inglourious Basterds, the first time I ever saw it, I was a bit young, to be fair. But I didn't like it because I'd just come off of Kill Bill. And I was like, this is about a group of people hunting Nazis. They don't actually do that much of that.
No, there's only one scene really. Is like
even when they free
baseball
Hugo
bat
Stieglitz from the prison, like very briefly, and obviously the end.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. The rest of the time is just Brad Pitt with a brilliant accent.
No, I think there's when they're in the forest and it's like where we need to know the location of this gunner. Yeah,
but they're just German soldiers. They're not hunting Nazis.
Oh yeah.
You know.
No, it's true. You don't see much of that.
No, not enough scalping. I mean, they talk
you
about
only
it.
See like one or two. Like it's just a very small pan over how they're scalping them. No, but also I think that is very interesting. I'll definitely look out for that the next time I watch his movies. It's just how little there actually is, but that being like enough for it to like somehow
have an influence over the viewers.
The entire film feel that way.
Yeah.
I think it's just the tension, because it's so tense throughout the film. You feel like it is, in that sense, you project that violence onto the rest of the film.
Because it's the bar scene, which is incredible. I love it. I think it's...
How do you
do the freeze? That's what catches them out.
This is bad.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
But yeah, so he says he wants Treiglaser, and this is the German 3.
This is definitely the German 3.
In fairness, I think I would do 3.
I would definitely do this.
Which is a really interesting thing. I just don't know that's
2,
a thing.
3.
So,
but then I would switch to 4 here.
Oh. Yeah.
Because
4.
Because if this is 3, try and get your ring finger up.
It's easy. You're just weak. Oh. But yeah, sorry, if you haven't seen this, it's going to look mad. Basically, you're going to be like, what is going on? Michael Fassbender gets caught out as a spy because he asks for free glasses.
Yeah.
And in Germany, they do 3 like this. Which is an amazing detail that I never knew about until I saw the film. And the fact that he did know that was a thing is incredible. Because he's American. Why would he know? How different, he must have spotted that and went, I'm gonna write that into a film. And I do think they don't acknowledge it there and then. You see him, if you know what you're looking for, the Nazi definitely spots it. The music stops, the tone changes, the background noise just gets doofed. And then only I think it's 20 minutes after do they go, oh, this is the German 3, and they kind of it gets explained in a throwaway line. But I don't think most people notice on the first viewing. They just know that he's being found out. Yeah. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. Also, Michael Fassbender's acting, you can tell right away he orders 3 as immediately he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Bleep. No, but I think there is definitely some truth to that because, what I've heard, I guess it's like with American paratroopers, whatever, like getting behind the German line and them trying to find them, like if there are any farmers rescuing them or whatever, what they would look for, or it's like they would go looking for them around like lunch or dinner time, because what they would look for is the arm being underneath the table. So like I guess the American way to eat would be like to cut everything up and then start shoveling the food.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like the German way would be to eat it like
as you go,
all of the food.
Yeah.
And so like that's how they would try and.
To be fair, I've never understood that as like proper etiquette, not having elbows on the table. I'm like, there's enough room, and I want to eat. This is just better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So maybe there is definitely some
historical.
Yeah, some historical thing of like trying to figure out who's a spy and who's not.
But yeah, I mean, it's done perfectly, and I do think so. Shoshana's plotline, is superfluous to the plot, in that Hitler would still die, the place would blow up, they'd shoot everyone. The fact that the cinema burns down doesn't really matter. The fact that Hans Landa's hunting her doesn't really matter. But I'm okay with it.
Ooh, because all of what you said, I do, yes, that they would. I think it's a matter of it wouldn't be that cinema. They wouldn't have the premiere at that cinema if it wasn't like Frederick Zoller and Shoshana.
But that could all happen in another. It could just be, there's a premiere at the cinema, let's go.
Yes.
Like, it definitely could be not in the film,
it could not be an issue at all that it's the cinema. Yeah. Like, it could be a big cinema and they're still going.
Yeah, it's a big cinema in Paris.
Yeah.
They controlled Paris at the time. Fine.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that it is there and it means you get to meet Hans Landa's character and spend a lot of time with him is great. I don't think Shoshana's done perfectly. I think her character's probably the weakest in the film of the fleshed out characters. There's definitely members of the Bastards that like is it the guy that they called me the little guy? Yeah. And he's hilarious. Why didn't he get more time? Yeah.
Seriously?
It's like the brain. It's like, that's a great nickname. Or my nickname, he's like, well, you call me the little guy, and I'm surprised by how tall you are. And he's like, they call me the little guy? That's funny. I do wish he had more screen time. Whereas of the fleshed out characters, you got Brad Pitt, Michael Fassbender, and Christoph Waltz, and Shoshana. I think she's the weakest of the four. Would be my saying. That's fine. There's always going to be one that's...
I feel like there are definitely some parts that they somehow introduced, like her romance to the...
Frederick Zoller, which...
No, not even that, to the projector guy.
Oh, her projectionist,
Yeah, her projectionist.
I think that was more of a... I'm not sure.
That's the thing, like, you don't know. It's like, it feels like there's something there to be told as well.
Yeah, because he does just kill himself for her.
He does
the cigarette flick, which I think actually if you threw the cigarette a bit further or found a fuse, you could just burn it and leave. Rather than dying. But, each to their own.
I'm not sure. Like, does he... Like, they don't show him, obviously, because it's not...
The way it's shot makes it look like he's...
Yeah, he's sacrificing himself.
Killing himself for it.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, the whole plot would be the same. It's the classic, like, Indiana Jones thing of... If he wasn't in the film, the Nazis would find the Ark, dig it up, open it, die, the end.
Yeah.
Does he do anything? No.
But
that doesn't mean it's like, let's remake it without Indiana Jones, because...
No.
Yeah. But I just think it's funny when you look at a film like that and think, it's so well put together, I love the plot, and you kind of... As a writer, you don't need your characters to all be essential, as long as they're well written and, actually add something.
Yeah. But definitely, if you think about, like, if you take her away, you would definitely strip the film of a lot of Hans Landa.
Yep.
And that would make the film so much weaker.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like...
You would definitely have to have way more of the Bastards then, and then it would just be like a war movie in a way.
Yeah.
And we've seen that so often already.
Yeah. Doing something unique in, like, a World War II film is so hard to do. And the fact that it is and stands on its own... is incredible. But definitely the film that garnered him the most controversy was his next film. Django.
Django.
Oh, we could just sing the whole theme song.
Yeah. Oh, the soundtrack is amazing.
It is perfect. The first time I watched it, I hated the rap music in it.
Really?
I really didn't like it. It felt
I
so
need
out of
100
place.
back coffins.
Yeah, but over time, I've grown to like it. I appreciate it more.
It's good.
But definitely the first time I
guess
saw
it is a bit jarring.
It just jumps into. I was like, "What is happening?" But I think if you think of the film as a black empowerment film rather than a southern western, it works better. But definitely on first viewing, coming out of like, I don't know, were some good westerns, Hostiles or 3:10 to Yuma, and then you jump into that, you're like, this is different. Don't know how it's different yet, but it's just different. Yeah. But it's his most violent film. I would say, because at least the fights in Kill Bill are fights and they end, whereas I think Django has a lot of violence.
Yeah. I mean the whole like fights, like the slave fights.
Yeah, are very one-sided.
Gruesome.
Oh, like not Wendigo, that's a Mandingo.
Mandingo,
I was gonna say Wendigo is a supernatural
beast
that eats people.
Yeah.
Mandingo fighting is it's horrible, and to portray that.
Yeah, whoa.
I mean,
that scene is
ballsy, but also the language that he uses for the whole film. A lot of people had issue with, and I think. So I had to research this for something I did for university, comparing Django Unchained and
12 Years
a Slave.
Yeah. Yeah,
and my thoughts going into it would be that 12 Years a Slave was much more realistic and a true depiction of slavery.
Yeah.
And Django Unchained was not. However, going into some research, it's completely the other way around, which is incredible. So there's a lot of like historian articles about it. So you can feel free to do your own research if you don't believe me. But
you can link to your essay.
yeah, I'll chuck up online. I'll be like, there you go. But yeah, it's incredible. So it doesn't shy away from anything.
Yeah.
It's even got phrenology, which is the study of human skulls. Which was a thing that kind of they used to justify
also in
what
the
they
Third
did.
Reich.
Yep.
Oh man.
Obviously, the language is there. The torture is there.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, people taking issue with that being in the film shouldn't necessarily be taking issue with it being in the film, but should be taking issue with it being historical. Like that kind of stuff
honest.
happened.
It's like the American South was like this not that long ago. And I think Samuel L. Jackson has a really good interview where he gets asked about that. He said he doesn't understand how Tarantino could be criticized as a racist because his character is the smartest character in that film. And I think that's so true. So if you look, Christoph Waltz sacrifices himself for the sake of nothing and ruins the whole plan just to get some petty revenge.
It's a bit of pride,
bit of pride, yeah. And fine. Django is kind of a bit of a blunt instrument. Like he's good at fighting, sure, and he's just very focused on his one thing and doesn't ever like manage to talk his way out of situations. Fine. And Leonardo DiCaprio's character is an idiot, and he's shown to be that, and it's great. And Samuel L. Jackson as the head house slave is the cogs behind the workings of the house, and I think that's incredible. And anyone that kind of misses that is really missing the point, I think. And also they have him as the main villain in the end. Yeah,
because he's the one to figure out the plan.
Yeah.
Like Django's plan and stuff. So.
And at the very end, he drops his cane and he straightens his back and he's like, "Yeah, all right, cool." And I think it's interesting to see the two. It's like in history, the place to be if you were a slave was the head house slave because it was the closest you could get to being free, essentially. But you were never going to be free. Whereas Django's that kind of romanticized.
Yeah, he's.
I'm going to take a different path of power.
Yeah. Which
you just can't do. Whereas 12 Years a Slave jumps out of so many things. They've got white people marrying slaves, and there's not really any extreme violence. Whereas like splitting up white husband and wives was so common. And I think it was really interesting to see the difference. Whereas 12 Years a Slave is very much romanticized, but it sells itself as history, which in doing so ruins the authenticity of it. Because it's like, oh, this is historically accurate, but it's not. It's nowhere near the same as the book.
You can tell that you've done your research.
I've done it, yeah. I got really annoyed at it because like it's like this is a true story and this all happened.
Yeah.
But actually,
I guess it's because they portray Django as such a cool guy, you know, and the music stuff like that is all very fictional. So like in terms of the character being very fictional, but that doesn't mean that
the world.
Yeah, the world around. Is. Yeah.
But no, like in the realistically in 12 Years a Slave, Benedict Cumberbatch's character.
What
There's
was
nothing.
that?
His name's better with a puddle at the end. What? But his character is meant to be nice. Like there's not in the actual guy's book, Solomon Kane.
Yeah.
Is that a different Solomon something? Google it.
Yes.
But he didn't have a bad word to say about him at all.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's interesting that they felt the need to villainize him just because he was a slave owner. And it's like stuff like that isn't actually like there is an argument to be made that it's just in the time.
Yeah.
Which Django does perfectly. I think they've got lots of different slave owners and they villainize in their own way. Also,
I think that's very interesting. Like it's hard to also find that balance. Like, do you say okay, by in Django portraying the violence and I don't know the language and that kind of stuff, by portraying it, are you perpetuating that kind of way of thinking?
Yeah.
Are you showing that it's okay to do these things or to say these things, or are you actually just flagging up how bad it is? And that kind of, and I guess also in 12 Years a Slave, to be like, oh, he's actually such a bad guy. Just do you have to do that, or is it more impactful to make him this incredibly good guy, but a slave owner, and to have the audience figure that out by themselves, like to actually empathize with him? Like
would be,
and then to be like, oh damn,
but
like,
he's done this. There's an actual conflict rather than being like, oh, he's a villain.
Yeah,
we're just gonna make him bad.
That's maybe less interesting.
Definitely, and I'd much rather watch. I mean, they're both very long films.
Yeah,
but I'd much rather watch Django because it can be fun. Like there's bits that make you think, and you're like watching Mandingo fighting, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah,
I'm getting hiccups.
But I think the only thing there's definitely this really long take of him, like, tied up to the tree in 12 Years.
Oh, in 12 Years a Slave, yeah.
That's, I mean, that and the Mandingo fight is on the same tier as, like, painful to watch.
Sure.
To me.
Yeah, I'll see that. But I think Django is very easily watched.
Yeah, it is more entertaining as well.
Definitely, and I think he knows that. I'm like, if you're able to hammer home, so from like a filmmaker's point of view, if you've got a message you want to send, slavery bad, fairly simple message, essentially. But like, if that's your thing that you want to focus on, and you can make a film like a drama that's slow and hard to watch, or you can make a kind of fun action film with excellent dialogue that still manages to hammer home the same message. Yeah. If your takeaway from the films are the same, you probably want to watch the one that's fun.
You're also going to make a film that more people will watch and rewatch. Yeah. Which is maybe not such a bad thing.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And I do think it's Tarantino's funniest scene is they're not the KKK, but it's like pre-KKK. When they're fiddling with their bags, and it just makes them look like idiots. Yeah, which is a good hilarious. Thing. Yeah, it's perfect on its own. It's perfect in the film. It's perfect.
It works. Yeah.
The film's long, but it's not too long. It doesn't go over the 3-hour mark.
No.
So it's easily watchable.
Speaking of long films, the next one is Hateful Eight,
which is long.
It feels long as well.
It's very long. I love it. What do you think? What's your first takeaway?
I don't know. It definitely has brilliance, but
feels long.
It feels long, and like the twist towards the end. Yeah. I was like, that just came too much out of nowhere. Yeah. That came out of nowhere. I was like, it's cool. Like it then like afterwards. Oh, okay.
It amps up the tension for sure.
Yeah.
But I think So I was saying earlier, like every film has a kind of mood to watch them in, except Jackie Brown. My go-to for Hateful Eight, despite it also being a Western, is Django, is like, it's winter, I'm cooped up, the fire's on, it's Christmas time, you want to sit down with a nice hot stew and watch 3.5 hours of people doing the same kind of thing, but not just like a Christmas film, but actually a movie, you know, that isn't silly. And I think that's its kind of perfect thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having a slow day anyways, to then just like...
sit, a couple of friends, have some whiskey.
Have some whiskey.
Yeah. I do think the only flaw with the twist is that, if you've not seen it, spoilers, but you kind of figured that going through every single film. But with him being beneath the floorboards the entire time, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't he come up before?
Like, is he just peeing in a corner down there or something? Like, yeah. I think it would have been cool if they had him, like, in the haberdashery and... Wow. Kurt Russell recognizes him, like, straight away or something, and is like, oh, okay, no, knocks him out and has him, like, tied up in the corner. And then he's like, okay, that's the threat there, but then there's just that doubt of, like, oh, no, there's another one. Someone else is in cahoots.
He could do the same kind of shot that he did in Inglourious Basterds of like going beneath the floorboards, and he's like tied up there. Yeah. Like trying to cut his ties. Like, and you know he's there, and it's in the back of your mind that he might be escaping at some point.
Yeah. But I think definitely having Kurt Russell acknowledge him there at the very start and having him tied up down there or something would make, and you could have the film the same, but just there's still that doubt of like, is there another one?
Quentin you might want to add a scene
if you want to hit us up. Email address is in the about.
Wow, getting a little cocky there.
No, but cool. But definitely I think that would be the only thing I'd change to kind of amplify it.
That makes sense.
The thing I don't like actually, there's nothing to do with the film, but the trailer 2 for the film is so fast and quippy and fun. I love it. Yeah. But it's a trailer for a different movie.
Yeah. Like, you wouldn't expect to be watching that afterwards.
And I think the trailer on its own is great, and the movie that trailer is actually advertising, like what it should have been, looks fun, and it's like another kind of Django with fast, quippy dialogue and a kind of murder mystery that's maybe 2 hours long. But the 3-hour behemoth that you get of people stuck in the snow chatting for the whole time is not the movie that trailer recommends. And it is just a bit annoying where you're like, something's missing. But it's a really fun trailer. Right. So it's kind of a shame. But it's definitely the hardest to watch. The one that people, if you're like, oh, you want to watch a Tarantino film? I don't think anyone is like, let's sit down and watch that unless you are stuck in quarantine. Enjoy. Yeah. We're going to do the whole thing about talking about Corona.
Darn! So close.
Next time.
Anyways, next time.
His final...
Once upon a time
in Hollywood.
Our segues on fleek.
That wasn't even scripted. Wow. Yikes.
Yes. But we have seen this film in cinemas together.
We have. It's the only film I've seen of his in cinemas. I was ever so slightly too young for Hateful Eight.
I've seen Hateful Eight in cinemas, but those are the only 2.
Of course, you're January birth, aren't you?
I am.
4th of January, check his IMDb.
Yeah, for sure.
What's
Why
that,
not?
5'5" and 3/4.
Yes, I did write that bio myself.
Oh dear. every quarter inch counts.
I just googled it, so.
But yeah, we saw it. I've seen it twice in cinemas.
I've only seen it once.
I've only seen it once. I loved it.
That's good, yeah.
It's an amazing film. I think, reflecting on it, it's my favorite of his movies.
I love how it's like he's so aware of his own style that he manages to subvert his style and like the expectations of his viewers in the film, and I think that's so brilliant.
Like the scene with Brad. I'm thinking, so this actually, we are going to spoil bits of this, and if you've not seen it, like definitely skip in the time descriptions below, because this is a film you want to see without any spoilers, and if you've not caught up yet, it's available on Amazon Prime now for fairly cheap. So definitely go away and watch it and come back to hear what we think about it. Just saying, because this is the one that people might not have seen.
Yeah, that's true.
So feel free to skip forward.
And should see.
100%. It's our favourite. Right, 3, 2, 1. Brad Pitt's in Spawn Ranch.
Yeah.
And with, especially like Inglourious Basterds, that tension, it's the same. It's even more hyped up, I think. That music's kicking in. And you're like...
They're all watching him go inside and you're like, oh, something's going to blow up.
And then like, Bruce Dern's character's there and you're like, is he dead? Like, is it just a body? Then someone's going to stab him in the back? Nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's happened?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even the fact that he has like this fist fight afterwards.
Yeah,
leaving
it's just one punch.
And you're like, what is going on?
But then there's discount Kylo Ren on the horse, and he's riding for him, and you're like, okay, he's got the scrawny guy, but he's coming.
Yeah.
He's coming. Like,
something's gonna...
It's been building up and building, and then he gets there and he draws him. And I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Because you have this expectation. I think the thing that really sells that, though, that slow build-up, is the end.
Yeah.
Like the ending, where it does just go, right, you've been wanting this the whole time. Here's murder. And I mean, I think it's his goriest. It's definitely gruesome.
I love the way he chucks the can at someone.
Right.
Like, yes, that is Jason Bourne at his finest. It's like, I've got a weapon.
You just see it, but you see him with the can in his hand, and you're just like,
it's gonna happen.
But it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's beyond perfect. And even like, so when Brad Pitt's fixing the antenna earlier on, and he goes into the garage to get some gloves, the flamethrower's there.
Yeah,
he's hanging up.
Oh, and I didn't know. Did I not mention it as well?
When you came out of the cinema, and it's like you saw him go into the shed, and you're like, he's coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally when we were in the cinema, because I'd already seen it beforehand. I saw it on like launch day, I think, and you're like, you're like, he's getting the flamethrower. I was like, yeah. It's so fun. But even before that had happened, I loved it. Like it's just two guys living their life while Margot Robbie twiddles her feet at the camera, and I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like they're both, especially Brad Pitt. He deserved that Oscar. He was our Oscar pick if you followed our Twitter. He was our Oscar pick. And I'm really glad he got it because it was an incredible performance.
Yeah.
I did read some criticism that Margot Robbie's character didn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
But she actually addressed it in an interview with Tarantino there, and they said like they looked at it and it would be cooler if they just told the whole thing visually. But it was a conscious decision they have, and I was like, yeah, fair enough, because it's just her living life in the 60s.
Yeah, show don't tell in that sense.
100%. And you see like, oh, she's living a fun life, she's getting these books, she's going to see her own films in the cinema, she's going to parties, she's dancing, she's playing music, and especially if you have the knowledge of Sharon Tate's going to get murdered at the end of this, there is that just dread of like constantly building up, and you're like, it's all going to end. It's all going to end. Did you have any issues with the portrayal of Bruce Lee?
No. I thought it was hilarious. Because like, it was just like this flashback, and it was straight in, panning down, and...
It's all in one take as well.
He just turns around, and I'm like, this is definitely Bruce Lee. And, it was also spot on.
It was hilarious. And there is a lot of reports of him actually doing that on set as well. So,
and I mean also like even if it's accurate, not accurate, I don't care. It's still a fictional, like it's not a documentary. So like I'm okay with like, I mean that also means that I will have to say like I'm totally fair with someone taking the piss out of me, you know, and therefore I'm like,
that's all we do here, right?
No, but I don't know if someone wants to make stuff up about me, it's like, okay, that's made up, and then
and hopefully audiences are smart enough to see that. But
so feel free.
Like, it's definitely something that was founded on realism, and the fact that the family got so offended, I think, is a little bit
telling.
The film got banned in China because of it, though, and he refused to remove the scene, which props to him. Yeah, I think that's, definitely, it's hilarious. Of that scene, but it's good as a filmmaker for him to actually stand by his guns, because a lot of money that he could have sacrificed there, we'll just never know.
That's true.
The Chinese market, if it picks up a film, is humongous.
Pretty big, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it definitely is my favorite of the films. I'm looking forward to learning all those lines and quoting along.
All the lines.
And that's why, in case you didn't understand our thumbnail, we have the shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're actually so comfortable. You probably can't buy them online anymore because the whole world's closed down.
Yes.
But they're very comfy.
They come in 2 different versions.
Yeah, you get the hard sole.
Hard sole, so you can actually wear them outside. How cool is that?
And you get the soft soles, which you probably could wear outside if you lived anywhere except Scotland, where it rains constantly. But it's not really that option. So these are my indoor house shoes when I get dressed. So, Mum, I know you're watching. You'll be proud I'm not in my pajamas today. Like, I mean.
Very fair.
Otherwise, you got some nice slippers on. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, I'm a big fan. I actually didn't get those shoes because they're like the shoes that Brad Pitt wears. I remember seeing them the very first time they're on screen and thinking they look so comfortable. Like, I want them. Yeah. And then I looked up and I was like, you can get them. Yeah, they're so comfy. Yeah. They are your foot.
10 out of 10.
Would recommend, for sure. They look a little ridiculous. I'll happily accept that. But they're comfy. So, Tarantino said his entire career, he's going to do 10 movies. And we've gone through 9.
Yes.
Which leaves him 1 to go. He usually knocks them out every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So,
we've got predictions, some speculations.
So, there's a couple whisperings.
Yes.
For a while, there's been chat of him doing Star Trek 3.
Okay.
Which would be Star Trek 4 now, I guess.
Uh-huh.
His own Star Trek thing. There is also talk that it might be set in its own wee thing. Now, this was a couple of years ago when they were saying he's going to do a Charles Manson film.
Oh.
And then a Star Trek film. So this has been in the works for a while. And the Charles Manson film turned out to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of rumblings about him directing, maybe just writing a Star Trek film.
Okay.
I think it'd be a really weird send-off for him.
Yes.
It's very not like him. All his films, there's 2 universes he has. He's got movies within movies.
Yes.
And then his universe. So, like, Pulp Fiction's in the normal one, and Kill Bill is like Fox Force 5 that they talk about in Pulp Fiction gets turned into the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad, and that's like a film that people in the Pulp Fiction world would watch.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and a bit mad, but to do Star Trek would be like, oh, we've got these 2 cinematic universes that all fit together.
Yeah.
And this one. Which...
And it's also like him doing his own stuff the entire time and then going
and
into
doing
a franchise.
Yeah. I also don't know if there's the money in Star Trek to be successful. Never mind making it 18 or R-rated.
No, I don't think that would be a smart idea.
No,
I mean, if he wants to go for like a sci-fi alien kind of thing, definitely.
I'd be down. Definitely. It's the one genre he's not really touched on, and I think he could definitely command the production budget to do it. I'd be
really interested in seeing that, to be honest.
I'd be down. There's not really, like, I mean, we've got Game of Thrones and Witcher now, in terms of TV.
Yeah.
Like, realistic fantasy, or low fantasy as it's called, rather than high fantasy. But we've not really got anything like that in the sci-fi. Definitely not I've seen. There's stuff that gets close. But, like, imagine Altered Carbon if it was just like, nah. Yeah. Everything's allowed. To a high quality, anyway. In terms of movies, there's nothing really gets close. It always kind of goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
So they always lower the ratings to get money.
That's true, yeah.
Like, Terminator now is just ridiculous.
That's true, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested to see what you do with it.
I feel like because most of that would be also adaptations of, like, children's fantasy books.
Yeah.
That's that, yeah.
But the same with Star Wars. I know we talk about Star Wars a lot, actually. But, like, just, I would be down to see...
To see that in rated R.
R-rated, like, in the lower levels of Coruscant. I know games have kind of hinted at stuff like that. But being like, what is the crime that is actually going on there in a harder way? It's always fun. Lord of the Rings, if they were like, yeah, I want to see orcs eat people's face off. Why not? You know, what's so evil about Sauron? We'll show you.
We'll show you. Absolutely.
The other rumored film would be a Kill Bill Volume 3. So that would follow Vernisha Green's child, so Nikita.
Oh, on her own revenge.
On her own revenge against Uma Thurman.
Nice.
I think it'd be cool. I don't think it's a story that needs told, though.
No, and it would be very different because she's obviously not a trained killer yet, so it would be a whole like origin story of like, yeah, it would be very different.
I know Uma Thurman and Quentin Tarantino have kind of fallen out a little bit in the last couple of years, so I don't see it happening. I also don't think that final send-off film, I don't think that's it.
But you never know. Natalie Portman's back in the Marvel business.
Somehow. I want to know how much they got, because she is Thor now.
Yeah.
Like, she's the new Thor. How much did she get paid? Because she hated doing the first 2 Thor films to the point where she's not in Endgame.
I don't know.
When they go back.
I'm not sure money can buy that. So something must have changed as well.
For sure.
Like,
but it is interesting,
That would also be a bad thing to be like, oh yeah, they just bought her off. Like,
yeah, well, it did come out, Robert Downey Jr. is okay to go back to the MCU after the Doolittle flop.
Oh.
For a lessened amount, I was like, bro, how... Like, he doesn't need the money. Do something else with your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other day.
And like, what did you expect? Do little to make you...
I think he got a deal that was 20% of gross profit, though. And of course, it made no money, so... Whew.
Yikes.
But no, I think there's also... So he said he's going to do a couple episodes of Bounty Law. Which is the TV show in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But he's going to do that as a TV show.
That's cool.
Which is really cool. So he's spending some time writing them up, but then actually directing them.
Cool.
Which I'm good for him to do, but I wouldn't want a full film of that. I don't know. I'd like him to do something different.
Yeah.
I think a sci-fi film would be cool. Maybe not actually confined within the Star Trek universe, though.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. He has talked about doing a third Western as well, which I'd be okay with.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, but I think that's... I mean, having said that, what he's good at is also creating new stuff with old stuff. I'd be really interested in it, like him also challenging himself to create something completely new in terms of like what he hasn't done yet.
Yeah, because in terms of how his films pay homage to different genres as they go, so to westerns, to samurai films, etc., to crime films, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is more meta than that, and it just pays homage to Hollywood and cinema in its entirety. So I think to do something, you couldn't follow that kind of homage. It'd be a step back.
Yeah.
So he's kind of done the most meta way to do that. So it'd be interesting to see what he does in terms of he pays so much to his own films and how he subverts them.
Very true.
So it's incredible.
And maybe there won't be a 10th film.
This whole thing's just a ruse, and he's like, yeah, I'm retired. Oh, man. No, I think, though, so we were going to talk about our own film, but I think we should do that in a separate video.
Yeah.
Because we've nattered on a lot.
We have.
Because Tarantino's amazing.
And there's lots to say.
But yes, we'll talk in tomorrow's video about how we go about writing a script.
Yes.
And kind of our process of making the dialogue actually sound like humans are talking. Which is surprisingly hard.
It's surprisingly hard, yes. Yeah. Or at least a lot of people struggle with it.
Yes. Definitely.
And so...
Definitely.
There is definitely something to be said about maybe some ways how to ease that.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed our chat about all 9 of Tarantino's films. It's dragged on a little
Let us know which one is your favorite.
Yeah, let us know if Death Proof's worth watching.
Yeah.
We have time to watch stuff now. It's just a case of renting it.
Exactly.
But I don't want to watch it if it's going to ruin my opinion of him. So let us know. And if you disagreed with any of our commentary,
also
I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Or if he's too film schooly. It's the classic film student's favourite director. I got in so much trouble for that.
Really?
When I went to uni. It was like, oh, God, he's so mainstream. Why don't you like Martin McDonagh? And I was like, I like him too. His name's just too hard to pronounce because he's Irish.
I'm just incredibly bad with names, so I don't remember a lot of people's names.
7 Psychopaths.
Oh, yeah.
And In Bruges. I think that's him. Don't quote me on that. But if you made it this far in the video, you like us anyway, right? No, but thank you for making it this far in.
Exactly.
Remember and leave a like. That really, really helps us out and helps YouTube algorithm fix everything.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
And share. That's for us also, though.
And click that little bell icon.
Yeah.
God, that's the whole
what?
shebang.
Easy.
madness. Cool. Jerry is still here. I know I punched him over at the start, but he's still loving life.
Yeah.
He's feeling a bit better. He thinks he might tell us about how he wrote his script tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll catch you all in the future. Bye.